Hi, and welcome to this discussion on the new Assassin's Creed game, which has just launched. Not launched, we wish it launched. I wish it launched. The trailer has just came. I'm joined by Ash from Stadia Source.
Hello.
Eddie from StadiaPlayer1.
Hello.
And Rokk from Stadia Rocks, or for whatever way you want to say it.
Either works.
Either works. So basically, first things first, I want to confirm 100%, even though the trailer looked like it was just going to be an Xbox game, it is 100% coming to Stadia. Xbox may have the marketing deal by the looks of things, so expect lots more of Assassin's Creed at their press conference, but it is 100% coming to Stadia, so don't be worrying about that. I will just go quickly over the press release, just to make sure you're aware of some of the stuff which was in it. It is based in the 9th century AD. It is in Norway, and it will be going between the Norsemen are crossing the icy North Sea to the rich lands of England's broken kingdoms. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of conflict between England and Norway with the Vikings, so it sounds pretty good. There's, again, with this Assassin's Creed, there will be RPG elements, so we're talking more of the new style Assassin's Creed, like Origins and Odyssey. Lots of weapons, and the hidden blades definitely in it as well. It's in the press release. We're going to have lots of sailing, and there's fishing, it looks like, which I know a lot of people want that sort of thing in fishing. But yes, fishing, hunting, drinking games, and more. Drinking games is mentioned. There are lead epic raids, launch massive assaults against Saxon troops and fortresses throughout England. Lead your clan in surprise attacks from your longship and pillage enemy territories to bring riches and resources back to your people. There's also something going back to the older Assassin's Creeds. Grow your own settlement, and know this was a big feature in Assassin's Creed 2, the Ezio series, is constructing and upgrade your buildings that allow for deep customization, including a barracks, blacksmith, a tattoo parlor, and more. And recruit new members to your clan and personalize your Viking experience. This is something I don't actually like with the other, the last two Assassin's Creed games. There will be mercenary Vikings, create and customize a new. Oh, that's just something completely different. So just give me a slap. I just read that wrong. It's mercenary Vikings, create and customize a unique Viking raider within your clan and share it online with friends to use. One more thing I would like to mention before I open it up for everybody's initial response is there's going to be 3 versions of the game. There's going to be the Gold Edition. There's going to be 4 versions of the game. There's going to be the Gold Edition, the normal version, the Ultimate Edition, and the Collector's Edition. The Collector's Edition, I don't think will be coming to Stadia because that actually has physical sort of things with it, but the Ultimate Edition is the base game, the season pass, and exclusive customizable content. The Gold Edition is just a base game and season pass, and you've got just the base game. It will be available on Uplay Plus, and that will include the Gold and Ultimate Edition. So as we know, Touchwood Uplay Plus is coming this year. So guys, I will open it up here. I will start with Eddie. I know you're a massive Assassin's Creed fan, so what is your initial take in this?
It's a very new, interesting landscape. I'm glad all of the spoilers and the leaks were right on this. And the Viking mythology had already a tremendous coverage and was successful on the last game of God of War game. And I really hope that it gives the same feeling now on Assassin's Creed.
Me?
Yep. Sorry, I'm trying to get through.
You rock. So,
I'm trying to get some of the screenshots up here for
Oh,
people.
right, okay. Yeah, no, I'm hugely pumped for this. I tried some of the earlier Assassins. I mean, I've played all of them at some point, but the only two that really, really resonated for me were Origins and Odyssey because of the amount of historical detail in both of those. I mean, literally, Origins is used as an educational resource on Egyptian mythology and Egyptian history. It's an amazing piece of work, and I'm really looking forward to this because it's an interesting episode in Northern European history that isn't really covered off. I think I'm right in saying that this particular episode is set around the 800s, around the sort of 9th century, which is just before the Vikings essentially moved down into Seine in France and were given the whole of northern France as territory, which became Normandy, from which they launched their eventually successful attack into England and essentially took over England when we were run by the Normans. And for hundreds of years, we became slaves to the Normans. And that's a fascinating historical period that's never really covered off. So I'm really looking forward to that. And Eddie's right in mentioning Gods of War, which is a kind of more, obviously it's a more mythological, based around the Viking gods, the Valhalla basis for the Viking gods. But also you've got games like Hellblade 2, which is set in a similar period, and an idealized version of it in Horizon Zero Dawn, which is clearly set in the future, but it's very obviously based around that kind of Nordic history. So I'm really looking forward to that. The only thing I would say, having seen the trailer, which of course is purely game cuts, is purely CGI cutscene.
Cinematic.
Yeah, it's it's not game stuff. The only thing that I'm worried about is what appears there's a thing in Hollywood. If you cover this period, the English are usually the baddies. I mean, let's take Braveheart as a classic example. English are usually the baddies, and then everybody else is the underdog, and it's all about those nasty English. And my only fear is because that clearly it's one man's heroes, another man's terrorists, right? So it's I hope that when they do show the historical detail at that level, it's not kind of the baddies English and the goodies Vikings, because they at that point in history everybody was a tribe, everybody was tribal, and you'd take over anybody else's territory if you're given half a chance. So but it looks amazing.
This screenshot is the lead male character. As you may notice in the language, there is also a female character as well, just like Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So I'll just put that screenshot up in 1 wee second. Ash, what's your thoughts here?
So yeah, pretty much every Assassin's Creed game I've been in love with. The same with Odyssey. So this one looks amazing. Can't wait to give it a try. Obviously, we've not had actual gameplay of it, just the trailer. Oh no, yeah, it is. I've been looking through some of it earlier, and it's just amazing. Get it on a canvas.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah,
this is a Christmas. This is my entire Christmas and New Year.
But obviously, the ability to then be able to, like I said, design your own character however you like, having the tattoos and stuff like that. You've still got the sailing, which again, everyone loves doing that. Being able to grow and expand your own city, which we've had small snippets of that in previous games, where you've had a little town and you've just been able to open like little small shops and stuff like that. So yeah, the possibilities are amazing with this.
Eddie, you were saying about leaks and spoilers. Do you know if they're going to carry the base story of Assassin's Creed through the kind of the assassin story, the futuristic going into the past, etc.?
No, actually, the leaks I just saw, it was basically setting the scenario for the game, but it wasn't actually okay. We will be seeing well, at the end of the trailer, we saw. He sees someone who turns into a bird, then he says Odin, and then he used the assassin's blade. So I believe that at some point there will be an introduction how the Vikings became assassins on this franchise.
Yeah, but the kind of the goes all the way back to Egypt, doesn't it? Sorry?
Sorry, I just removed you there for a second.
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I'd have done the same thing. Never stop bloody talking. Wasn't it?
This picture here, but just before I go, this is the Viking in England.
Yes.
So
Well,
what
would be northern
up-
England because
Yeah,
of the hills and the snow and
Yeah.
so on.
but pick up on that. We are going to be. Looks like we're going to be going to multiple countries in this Assassin's Creed. With England playing a big part in it, so we're not just going to be in Norway by the looks of things. So sorry, Rokk, for interrupting you there.
No, not at all. Of course, at that time it wasn't England. I think it
By the way,
was.
Rokk, sorry again to interrupt you, but just so everyone to know, this is a press release we got from Ubisoft, and these are screenshots from the game. These are not cinematics. These are screenshots from inside the game.
We got these from Ubisoft. We'll be putting these up onto our website shortly as well, so everybody can see them in full glory as it would be. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and the artwork is amazing. So if you just want to continue on there.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, without knowing the exact date that it's set, I know it was between the sort of 800, 900 centuries, because we'd literally come, if we were a few hundred years after the Romans had left, and they'd just left this huge void, and the whole society collapsed essentially, which made it ripe for being taken over. At that point in Gaelic, it was known as Sasana, where we get the Scottish Sassenachs from. And then then the Anglo-Saxons moved in, of course, and then that's where the term Angleland or England came from. Ultimately, then the Normans move in. But that whole period, that's what fascinates me. I'm knowing how meticulous Ubisoft are with their historical detail. This is a period in history that absolutely fascinates me. So I'm just looking forward to immersing myself in all of that historical beauty and detail.
So I have a question to all of you. How do you guys feel that this game coming this year? Because that's kind of surprising, thinking that we have 8 months to the end of the year right now. And supposedly as we saw at the end of the trailer as well, it will be available on the Xbox One X. But on the press release we got, it has already a pre-sale. And the pre-sale, you can buy it from the Epic Game Store, Uplay Store, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. So it is indeed a cross-generation game, but I'm just surprised that this game is coming this year.
Yeah, do you know, it's interesting, Eddie, because it was, obviously a month and a half ago, we were getting a lot of press releases that games were going to be delayed, but that seems to have calmed down. We don't seem to be hearing that so much anymore. I just wonder whether having now kind of, working from home has become the new normal, and I just wonder whether they've been able to, and you would know this actually, being coming from the trade, but I just wonder whether, as it has been with us, they've been able to adapt project management so that we're actually, a lot of these games are pretty much back on track on that basis. I mean, what are your thoughts? Because that's very much your corner of the world. Can
I just jump in before Eddie talks? And this is just to give some more background. 40 studios worked in this game.
40.
Oh, nice. 40. So yeah, so I'm just going to say that before Eddie responds, because I think that would add to the point.
I love you, Ubisoft. Sorry, Eddie, I'm really interested in your thoughts on that.
No. Actually, I want to hear a little bit on Lord more as well on the gaming coming this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's obviously we don't know how long they've exactly been working on it in total. So by now they could be right towards the finishing stages of it. Obviously, with everyone now working from home, I doubt that the whole global situation will derail it too much. If it does, then I don't think it'll be maybe a month or two longer kind of thing. It's like I've got family and friends who are working at home. They've had to have their internet connection secure, so obviously they can then do big projects from home fully securely. So I'm guessing they've done a similar situation. bit surprised that it is this year rather than like a year or two later. But yeah, I'm just amazed by the entire thing.
Nice. Go ahead, Duncan. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm not saying anything. I'm just giving these pictures up for everybody to have a wee look at here. But I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan, so I think this is just going to be mad. Especially if the fast travel. I'm not sure if anybody else has played Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Stadia. The fast travel on that really makes the game really completely different because you're just bouncing between everywhere a lot quicker. Well, so what do you guys think about the size of this game? How big do you think this is going to be?
40 studios big.
So I was just checking here the press release again, just to bring a team as well, because as Duncan said, there is the standard edition, the gold edition, the ultimate edition, and collector's edition. Collector's edition usually comes with some kind of collectible like this, but probably the collector's edition is not coming to Stadia because most of those it's already coming into pre-sale. But interesting as well, they put it on the press release saying the standalone Ubisoft collectibles will be able to purchase. But the shout out Chase, the thought-provoking question is, do you guys think that it's time to Stadia start thinking about pre-sale as well? Because the concept doesn't exist yet on Stadia.
See, with that, we do know that towards the end of last year that Dan, the leader of Stadia Source, that he actually did research into this. And on the website, he did find that pre-orders was one of the hidden options coming for the future. So with that, like I mentioned this to Rokk earlier, that when that does become active, I can imagine that the physical items with pre-order could then come to Stadia. Because the majority of us do have or at least all of us have our address linked to our Google accounts. So as soon as you pre-order that has a physical item, they'll just ship it straight out to you.
So there's basically no reason why we couldn't get collector's edition as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget, it was only this week.
Sorry, I just want to correct myself here. It was 14 other studios, yes.
14.
14. I'm stupid. So people call me, go on, you can say it, Rokk. I'm a wee what?
You're a wee deck. So you are. No, I mean, I think the thing is, it was only this week that we had the free edition deals in the store. So so we're still seeing the development, aren't we, of the model? But yeah, pre-orders, and it would be fascinating if those pre-orders included physical items, like Eddie was just mentioning.
Yeah. To help here on Duncan, it says associated studios are Ubisoft Sofia, Singapore, Montpellier, Barcelona, Kiev, Bordeaux, Shanghai, Chengdu, Philippines, Quebec, Bucharest, Pune, and with additional help of partner Spearsoft.
Wow.
Spearsoft, yeah. So it's interesting to see that the whole world, or the whole Ubisoft world, came together for this franchise. I don't remember seeing so much things happening at the same time from the same different locations from the same studio working on a single game. But in the question that triggers my mind as well, it's for Stadia, if this is a Generation 2 Stadia game. Because we saw already it is a generation, next generation, because of the Xbox One X. And by the way, answering a question somebody said here on chat, I do think the release date is the same across all platforms because it's not an exclusive title. But though it has right now a partnership with Xbox, but doesn't look at all that it's going to be an exclusive timeline to release. But again, I think it is maybe a Generation 2, Stadia Generation 2 game already.
I'm really hoping it is.
I think it's a good shout, Eddie.
I think it is a good shout. It will need to be if they're going up against Xbox and PlayStation 5 here. I really can't wait for this game. Just going back into the pack-ins, I really think that's worth make this slightly different. If it's the sort of thing that GameStop and the other game stores should be going for, is a digital code and sell the collector's edition. If there was a Stadia version of this in the store where you got the game code and you got the collector's edition, I would be buying that all up.
I think you're right. Spirasoft is a Russian. I didn't know these guys. They're a Russian studio. They've worked on Rainbow Six Siege. They've worked on a lot of Ubisoft stuff. Rainbow Six Siege, Odyssey. They've also worked on Anthem, Call of Duty. So they look like a good pair of hands. And I noticed in chat, I think it was Tresurrector saying, I don't know how Ubisoft do it. I mean, that's testament to the fact that that Stadia have pulled across so many Ubisoft guys, because I think they're just one of the leading studios in the world for on all levels, including production. So, I think that answers that question. Oh no, look, there's a typo, length under Hidden Blade.
Shoo.
Dag nabbit.
This is one of the collectibles that
Yes, yeah.
are going to be there. And there's another one as well.
Yeah, from what I've seen on the site, both of these are £50 or $50.
Oh wow, look at that.
And there's a code here for when you get to the game. And man, gosh, I want this so bad already.
I know. How amazing does that look?
It's got me tempted, all right.
I tell you, I'd put money down on if it was on pre-order in Stadia.
Yeah,
That looks amazing.
Here's a quick one as well.
Myself, I think I'm probably going to get one of the next-gen consoles. I still don't know which one. But basically because of the exclusive titles. At the moment I see an exclusive title on the next generation, I'm probably getting one. But there's no reason why I would play this game here in other consoles, thinking how the Ubisoft games already react better on Stadia compared to other consoles at the moment, right?
Yeah, just a quick one, not trying to put in. But as well as that, we are also getting an official novel. As well as... Sorry, I've not done this before. There you are.
Yes, Runio, it is officially coming to Stadia in Stadia
the physical
PS4.
collector's
Ooh,
edition.
the collector's edition. I want this on Stadia now.
Yes,
Do you think that's actual size? Do you think that character's on the boat there is actual size? That's huge.
Well, it says usually it's 30 centimeters.
That's big, isn't it? It's gorgeous.
It's the size of this one.
Okay.
Yeah, Ubisoft collectibles are usually this size.
Is it made from resin?
Not only, yeah, but they are usually 30 centimeters. Like this thing here is actually leather.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. They're just up the road from you, aren't they, Eddie? Not the character, obviously. That's just next door to you there. The studio itself, or one of the studios. Yeah, no, it's going to be an amazing game. As I say, it's the historical stuff that just blows me away, and it is a period that not a lot of people, not even to be fair, movies in Hollywood have really concentrated hugely on it. For whatever reason. So I think it's going to be amazing. And as you rightly said at the outset, Eddie, I think there's a big thirst for this after God of War and that kind of whole feeling of, that sort of...
Yep. The God of War comparison would say there was more mythological, historic facts.
Yes, of course.
And this looks to be much more towards the history.
Actual,
of, the Vikings getting over the North Sea.
Yeah.
And, looking for the rich lands of England at the time. But yes, you mentioned a very interesting point that I didn't know. I ended up knowing to learn actually this week that schools are in partnership with Ubisoft to study that period of time with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So if it follows the same approach of let's focus on the history facts, it's gonna be amazing. And I was reading yesterday a few forums, or actually I follow the Ubisoft pages in a couple languages, and there are people saying, please come back with the original Assassin's Creed game, like no RPG elements. But mostly of people are saying, please do the same thing as you did with Odyssey because it was a great game.
Yes.
So it's great to know that it's gonna be drinking games, of course. And maybe as I saw people mention here, maybe fishing and other stuff.
Fishing's in the game. It's in the press release. Fishing is in the game.
Tournament fishing. And I guess just getting across between Norway and Northern England in the North Sea, battling through those huge waves and stuff, I could imagine that would be quite an experience, wouldn't it? Trying to survive across there. Because I don't think at that time there was anything you could call a navy. Certainly nothing that was organized. It was largely, from the English side, it was largely fishing boats. So you won't get the same kind of sea battles that you had with the previous titles. But certainly that kind of whole survival thing of having to get across, huge stormy seas and stuff, that could be quite interesting as a part of the game.
Off you go, Ash.
See, something that I'd be interested to see is with the town building part of it, is if you can actually get your character to build either properties or a house yourself. It's like we've got a little snippet of that kind of how you'll do it with Red Dead Redemption 2 at the end of the game, where you have to build a house and a barn.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, as well as, again, to steal from Red Dead. In Valentine, the first little town that you go to, you actually see a house being built. And as time goes by, slowly that actually gets built up until it's fully completed. So I'm hoping they're able to use that kind of element within this as well. As in the trailer, we actually saw one of the houses being built at the time.
Be amazing.
What I was just going to say is, going back to the old school Assassin's Creed, the only thing I would bring back from the old school is if I go up with a hidden braid to someone behind them, I should be able just to assassinate them instead of being dependent on your stats. That is the only thing I would change. If you're going around the fortresses and whatnot, and you're going around with your hidden blade and you don't kill them, it's like, that's so annoying.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I was just trying to think, the whole kind of parkour thing is big in the AC games. And I was just trying to think, when you've only got these tiny little single story thatched houses in villages in England, you're not going to be doing much of that, really, are you? There's not going to be a lot to climb up.
As well as that,
a few castles, right?
Castles. Haven't thought of those. Yeah, although they came later. To be fair, there weren't any in this period. They were largely the folly of the Normans. So you're talking about another 200-300 years after this. There were some. There would have been stone buildings, but they were largely they would build up the land. So they would build a kind of a terrace, and then they would just have their village at the top of there, defended by a tall wooden fence structure. And the Normans were the ones that really brought the large Masonic castles across.
Just a quick one, just to go to what you just said, Rokk, about obviously single storied houses. I think it was Assassin's Creed 3 where you played as Connor. Where with that you were going through the forests, going through trees and stuff like that. So they could bring that element into it as well.
So more horse traveling than sort of building climbing.
Yeah. And climbing through trees in the wilderness.
Froggy, it comes a lot later than the Odyssey game. You were talking there. Even pre-2000, I think. So this is a couple of thousand years, or at least 1,000 years after then. But I wouldn't be 100% sure. But certainly, it's hundreds of years after then. So there's quite a gap between Odyssey and this time period.
And I'm just going to put two other wee things out here quickly. First thing is a news breaking this afternoon is Nintendo isn't also having an E3 conference this year, so which I thought, because of the current situation. Back to Assassin's Creed, it has been confirmed, or not, we'll say semi-confirmed on Amazon, that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be using smart delivery on Xbox One. And if you buy it for Xbox One, you'll get a free digital copy for Xbox Series X version of the game. The other title which is doing that is Cyberpunk at this moment in time.
That's interesting.
Rokk, can you answer here a question from the chat? Froggy says, does this come before the Sparta era?
Yeah, that was the sorry, Eddie, that was what I just answered. So in essence, the Odyssey game, the Sparta aspect, and you're talking, I think, even pre-Christianity there, or it may just have been after. So it's at least 1,000 years, certainly hundreds of years after that period. I'm a bit sketchy on the time frame of the Spartans, but I believe they were pre-Christianity, because it was a period just after they'd invaded. It was towards the end of the Egyptian period, and the Greeks essentially had invaded Egypt, and that was when that was just before the Romans. So you're around that time frame. The Romans left Britain about 400 AD, I believe, and this is 400 years after that. So this is what they call the Dark Ages, because it was at a point in history where the Romans had literally just walked away and allowed the whole of English society and culture to collapse. It just literally just fell in on itself, because they'd been tamed to live the way of the Romans culturally. And everything, they depended on the Romans. They just disappeared. So they were ripe for being invaded and came from all over the place. Different Nordic countries, I mean, because this is set in Norway, but of course you also had Danes who were officially Vikings, even from places as far afield as Sweden. So there were lots of tribal infighting and lots of invading into Britain. But certainly you're talking at least 400 years, 500 years after that period of Odyssey.
Okay, so I think this has definitely whetted everybody's appetite for Assassin's Creed going forward here. What date do you think it's going to come out?
Christmas.
Christmas?
They said holidays 2020.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, what date do you think it's going to come out? I know you're going to say November or December?
December, early December.
I think end of November.
Or end of November.
Oh, that's it. You steal my idea.
I don't know when I just say, please, Ubisoft and Google, give Assassin's Creed Odyssey for free.
Yeah, can we have it now? Now, please.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming along here today. I'll start with Rokk. Rokk, where can I find you?
Yeah, thanks, Duncan. Thanks for inviting me on, and it's great to see you again, Eddie. I'm youtube.com/StadiaRocks, at StadiaRocks. Also, Generation X Gaming Club, which hasn't an official YouTube link yet because we've only got about 20 subscribers. It's an independent channel. I'm also on MM2K show this evening with Clive, representing Generation X.
Eddie, what about yourself? And how's the cases going?
It's going good. I have a few ones to ship today. It's a raining day, so it's not a good walk to the post office, but it's doing good. You can check the cases at case.stadiaplayer1.com. You can find my YouTube at stadiaplayer1.com as well, or stadiaplayer1 on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, whatever you want. StadiaPlayer1, I'm there. And tomorrow at the time that I don't remember, check on Club Stadia, the Stadia initiative. We're doing the show tomorrow.
I think that's 8 p.m. Eastern, because I think it's 1 a.m. Our time.
Yes, so 8 p.m. Eastern, the Stadia initiative at Club Stadia, guys.
And you can find Ash, you want to say anything before I mother on here? And when no one can understand me. Basically, we we're part of Stadia Source here, so you can check out our StadiaSource.com. We're going to be actually live streaming later on tonight at 9 o'clock. I don't think it's going to be a podcast tonight, so you can tell MM2K not to worry about it tonight. We're
Okay.
panicking. Tell him not to worry. Oh, and there's the wee man. So tell him not to be panicking there tonight. I think we're just going to have a chilled out stream playing Monopoly. If you can be chilled out playing Monopoly. And that's it.
Not what we were seeing earlier on Twitter. I think you've upset Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I think she's playing tonight. Are you playing Monopoly tonight?
I might be.
I might be.
She keeps ending up in jail, though.
Yes, it's great. The best place for her in jail. Yeah, but yeah. So we're going to be on about 9 o'clock tonight doing that. We're going to have the trailer for Assassin's Creed up on Stadia Source shortly. So again, I just want to thank everybody for turning up. You guys for taking part. So thank you all. And I think that will be us before I make any more rambling.
It was brilliant. Cheers, Eddie. Cheers, guys. Thanks,
Bye.
chat.
See you later.
Bye.